Ladies and gentlemen, every person who has ever achieved greatness began first by imagining it. The mind is a workshop in which we forge the character, the destiny, and the life we wish to live. The first and greatest step toward becoming who you imagine is to decide, with clarity and courage, exactly who that person is. You cannot hit a target you do not see. Define the ideal version of yourself, not vaguely, but with the precision of an architect drawing blueprints. Imagine how you think, how you speak, how you walk, how you make decisions. Then understand this truth. If you can hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. The power that transforms thought into reality is faith. Faith is not passive belief, it is active knowing. It is the inner conviction that the image you see in your imagination is not fantasy, but a preview of reality awaiting construction through effort and discipline. The world bends to the will of those who believe with intensity and act with consistency. Imagination must be partnered with persistence. It is not enough to dream by night and wait by day. Every single action you take must serve the vision of who you are becoming. Success is not a lightning strike. It is the slow, deliberate rise of a mountain built from the stone of daily choices. Thoughts are things. They carry the magnetic force that draws the world into alignment with the image you hold in your mind. But thoughts alone are not enough. They must be organized, focused, and backed by decision. Controlled imagination is the tool of genius, and uncontrolled thought is the playground of failure. And finally, you must surround yourself with those who support your becoming. You are not an island. You are a product of your environment. Choose mentors, friends, and influences who elevate your standard, who call you higher, who see in you the person you are working to become. A mind in harmony with its vision attracts opportunities in harmony with its future. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest journey you will ever undertake is not across land or sea, but from who you are today to who you imagine you can become. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for certainty. Begin now with what you have where you are, and never stop until the image in your mind becomes the person in your mirror. Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all personal achievement. Without it, one becomes like a ship at sea without a compass, adrift, pushed by the tides of circumstance and winds of other people's opinions. With it, you become the captain of your own soul, directing your energies toward the creation of the life you truly desire. To become who you imagine, you must begin by identifying exactly who that imagined person is. You must define that identity with absolute clarity. This is not an exercise in fantasy or idle dreaming. It is the act of building the blueprint for your future self. Just as an architect would never begin constructing a building without a detailed plan, you cannot construct a new version of yourself without first drafting the image in your mind. That image must not be vague. It must not be scattered. It must be so definite, so sharply etched into your consciousness, that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. This act of definiteness is the foundation upon which all personal transformation is built. To do this, you must take time away from the noise of the world and ask yourself a question that few people dare to answer with sincerity. Who do I truly want to become? Not what others want for you. Not what you think you can settle for, not what seems safe or acceptable, but who do you, in your deepest vision, see yourself as? What do you stand for? What principles govern your actions? What is your nature when you are at your highest level of expression? Once you have that image, you must write it down, put it into words, describe that person with precision. How do they carry themselves? What do they believe? How do they think when faced with fear or difficulty? What do they tolerate, and what do they reject? What habits does that person live by? What value do they bring into the world, and what legacy do they intend to leave behind? The clearer this picture becomes in your mind, the more power it will have to influence your behavior and decisions. People fail to reach their full potential not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction. They drift, they react to life rather than intentionally shaping it. Definiteness of purpose gives you that direction. It becomes the inner compass that points you toward your imagined self in every situation. When opportunities arise, you can measure them against your purpose. When distractions present themselves, you can dismiss them without hesitation, knowing they lead you away from the vision you have committed to. This clarity also energizes you. A person with a definite aim wakes up with a reason to act. There is enthusiasm in their steps and fire in their eyes because they are no longer wandering aimlessly through life. They are creating with purpose. Every effort becomes meaningful, every failure becomes feedback, and every moment becomes an opportunity to refine their approach. Definiteness of purpose also has an unseen influence. It causes circumstances to shift. People notice your clarity, resources begin to appear, doors open where none seem to exist. There is a magnetic power in a person who knows exactly where they are going and why. That power does not come from arrogance. It comes from deep inner conviction. It is a calm certainty that says, I know who I am becoming and I will not be moved, and yet having a purpose is not enough. It must be definite. A vague desire to be successful or be happy is not sufficient. You must go deeper. What does success look like for you? What does happiness mean in the context of your values and character? The more specific you are, the more actionable your vision becomes. Vague desires lead to vague results. Precision leads to power. This definiteness must also be emotional. It cannot live only in the intellect. It must stir the soul. It must be a purpose you are willing to fight for, to sacrifice for, to suffer for if necessary, because there will be days when the world tests your commitment. You will be challenged, doubted, and discouraged. In those moments, only a deep sense of purpose will keep you moving forward. A person without purpose will surrender to difficulty, but a person with a burning vision will use difficulty as fuel. To become who you imagine, you must first imagine that person with such vividness that your current limitations lose their hold on you. You must commit to that image with unshakable loyalty, no matter how distant it seems from where you are now. The gap between who you are and who you imagine can be closed only through the power of decision, and that decision begins with definiteness of purpose. It is not a one-time act. It is a daily practice, a constant return to your highest vision, and a refusal to let anything else define you. When you know where you're going and why it matters, you have already set in motion the forces that will carry you there. Faith in your vision is the invisible but unshakable force that turns the imagined into the real. Without faith, your dreams remain mere shadows, flickering in the distance but never fully taking shape. Faith is the bridge between the intangible idea held in your mind and the tangible results that appear in your life. It is the fuel that powers every step you take toward becoming who you imagine. To cultivate faith, you must first understand that it is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. Rather, it is a deep, unwavering conviction that what you envision is not only possible, but inevitable, provided you persist and act with purpose. When you hold a vision of yourself in the future, doubt will inevitably arise. The world is filled with voices that challenge your belief, that insist you remain within the limits of your current reality. Those voices may come from others, but more often they come from within: the whisper of fear, the shadow of past failures, the temptation to settle for comfort over growth. Faith confronts these doubts head on. It does not deny reality or pretend obstacles do not exist. Instead, it chooses to believe that the obstacles are temporary and surmountable. Faith is a decision to trust in the unseen forces that work in alignment with your purpose. This faith is not a passive state. It demands action. When you believe in your vision, you begin to act as if that vision is already true. You take steps with confidence, even when the path is unclear. This faith in action creates momentum, attracting opportunities and resources that were previously hidden. The mind is a magnet, and faith is the power that charges it, pulling toward you the people, ideas, and circumstances that align with your imagined future. Faith also strengthens your resilience. When setbacks come, as they inevitably will, faith gives you the courage to persist. It whispers that failure is not defeat but a lesson and a stepping stone. Without faith, discouragement can become a stopping point. With faith, it becomes a pivot point. This inner certainty allows you to rise repeatedly, learn continuously, and keep moving forward regardless of external conditions. Developing faith requires repetition and reinforcement. It is strengthened each time you affirm your vision through focused thought, positive self-talk, and visualization. Imagine yourself already embodying who you want to become. Feel the emotions that come with that reality: confidence, peace, joy, and strength. When you immerse yourself regularly in this mental rehearsal, faith grows from an abstract concept to a living experience inside you. You must guard your faith carefully. Doubt and negativity are contagious, and they can weaken your belief if you allow them to take root. Surround yourself with affirming influences. Seek out stories of those who have succeeded against the odds, and remind yourself daily of your purpose. The environment you create in your mind and in your surroundings will either nurture your faith or erode it. Choose wisely. Remember that faith is a powerful creative force. It shapes your actions, decisions, and the way you respond to challenges. It changes your vibration and aligns you with the forces that bring your vision to life. Those who achieve greatness do so because they first believed they could. The world's greatest achievements began as faith in the minds of individuals who refused to accept limitations. In summary, faith in your vision is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the inner flame that keeps your purpose alive during the darkest nights. It transforms imagination from a wish into a plan, and from a plan into reality. To become who you imagine, cultivate your faith with discipline and devotion, and watch as your vision begins to manifest in the world around you. Persistence over time is the relentless force that shapes your imagined self into reality. Many begin their journey with enthusiasm, inspired by a vivid vision of who they want to become. Yet, it is not the initial spark of desire that guarantees success, but the steady, unyielding commitment to move forward day after day, despite obstacles and setbacks. Persistence is the bridge between the mental image of who you want to be and the physical evidence of who you become. Without it, even the clearest purpose and the strongest faith will falter and fade. To persist means to continue firmly in an opinion or course of action in spite of difficulty, opposition, or discouragement. The path to becoming who you imagine is rarely smooth or straight. There will be challenges that test your resolve, moments when doubt creeps in, and times when progress seems painfully slow or invisible. It is precisely in these moments that persistence shows its power. Those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented or the luckiest. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They keep going when others turn back. They push harder when others rest. And they believe in the unseen future when others accept the visible present as their limit. Persistence is a habit cultivated through discipline. It requires you to create daily rituals that reinforce your purpose and keep you moving forward. Whether it is a small step or a large leap, consistent action creates momentum. Imagine a river carving a canyon, not by sudden force, but by continuous flow. So too does persistence erode obstacles and shape your character over time. The act of showing up every day, even when motivation wanes, separates those who merely dream from those who live their dreams. An essential part of persistence is learning to embrace failure not as an end, but as a necessary part of the process. Each setback carries with it a lesson, a piece of feedback that refines your approach and strengthens your strategy. Persistence is not stubbornness in the face of futility. It is wisdom coupled with resilience. It recognizes when to adapt and when to stand firm. Those who become who they imagine are flexible in their methods, but unshakable in their commitment to the goal. You must also understand that persistence requires patience. Transformation does not happen overnight. The person you imagine is the sum of countless small efforts compounded over time. There is no substitute for this slow and steady growth. It requires faith that the invisible progress is real and meaningful. even if it cannot be immediately measured. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a mighty tree, so too does your vision require time to take root and flourish. Another vital aspect of persistence is surrounding yourself with support. Like a candle flame shielded from the wind, your resolve will burn brighter and steadier when nurtured by encouragement and accountability. Seek out those who believe in your purpose, who will remind you of your potential when your own faith falters. The power of a supportive community cannot be underestimated. It fuels your persistence and keeps your spirit strong. In times of doubt, remind yourself that persistence is the great equalizer. It does not discriminate based on talent, background, or circumstance. The common denominator among all successful individuals is their refusal to surrender to temporary defeat. They are the ones who continue the climb, step by step, no matter how steep the mountain. This is the essence of persistence, an unwavering commitment to progress, driven by the vision you hold in your mind. To become who you imagine, cultivate persistence as your daily practice. Let it be the engine that propels you through uncertainty and the shield that protects you from despair. Remember that every great achievement in history is the result of persistence, of individuals who chose to endure, to grow, and to keep their eyes fixed firmly on the horizon of their dreams. Without persistence, your vision remains a distant hope. With it, your imagined self becomes your living reality. Controlled imagination is the key to shaping the future you desire because it directs the immense creative power of your mind with precision and purpose. The imagination is the workshop where all your future achievements are first crafted. It is not a random or whimsical faculty. Rather, it is a deliberate and powerful tool that must be trained and disciplined. Without control, imagination becomes a wild force, producing fleeting fantasies or fears that drain your energy and scatter your focus. But when you harness and direct it, imagination becomes the architect of your destiny, designing the blueprint for who you will become. The mind is extraordinarily fertile, and the thoughts you feed it will grow like seeds planted in rich soil. If left uncontrolled, your imagination may be filled with doubts, worries, and negative images that undermine your confidence and pull you away from your purpose. Controlled imagination means intentionally filling your mind with positive, constructive, and vivid images of the person you intend to be. It means seeing yourself as capable, confident, and successful even before the physical evidence exists. This practice strengthens belief and aligns your subconscious with your conscious goals. One of the most effective ways to exercise controlled imagination is through visualization, the purposeful, detailed mental rehearsal of your desired outcomes. Visualization is not merely daydreaming, it is a focused act of creating a sensory, rich picture in your mind, complete with the sights, sounds, emotions, and even smells of your future success. This intense mental imagery impresses your subconscious mind, which then begins to operate in ways that support turning those images into reality. The subconscious mind acts on what it accepts as truth, so controlled imagination becomes the process of training your subconscious to serve your higher purpose. Control over imagination also means guarding it against distractions and doubts. The world is full of noise, opinions, fears, and conflicting messages that can clutter your mental space and weaken your focus. To maintain control, you must cultivate discipline in what you allow your mind to dwell upon. This may require limiting exposure to negative influences, engaging in regular mental exercises like affirmations, and consciously redirecting your thoughts whenever they stray toward defeat or hesitation. The ability to consistently refocus your imagination on your purpose is what separates those who succeed from those who falter. Furthermore, controlled imagination fuels creativity and problem-solving, essential traits for anyone striving to become their imagined self. When your mind is focused on your vision, it begins to generate innovative ideas, strategies, and pathways that were previously unseen. It equips you to navigate obstacles with resourcefulness and optimism. This mental clarity and creativity emerge only when imagination is under conscious control and directed towards specific goals. It is important to understand that controlled imagination is a daily practice. Like any skill, it strengthens with repetition and intentional effort. You must return to your mental blueprint often, refining it, adding detail, and reinforcing your belief in its inevitability. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to see your imagined self not as a distant dream, but as an imminent reality. Your actions begin to align naturally with this new self-image, creating a powerful feedback loop that accelerates your transformation. In this process, patience and consistency are crucial. At times, your imagination may feel weak or distracted, and the world may tempt you to abandon your focus. But remember, the quality of your imagination directly shapes the quality of your results. The more you master control over this faculty, the more you command your own destiny. It is through controlled imagination that your mind becomes the fertile ground where the seeds of success are planted, nurtured, and grown. To become who you imagine, you must commit to mastering your imagination, steering it with intention, protecting it from negativity, and nurturing it with clarity. In doing so, you unlock the creative power within you that can transform your vision into reality. The person you imagine is not a mere fantasy, but a future waiting patiently to be born from the fertile ground of your disciplined mind. The environment you surround yourself with plays a crucial role in shaping who you become. You are not an isolated being, rather, you are a product of your associations, influences, and the energy that permeates your daily life. To become who you imagine, it is essential to deliberately choose the people, places, and inputs that align with your vision and support your growth. This principle recognizes that your mindset and habits are contagious. They spread from those you spend the most time with and the environments you inhabit. When you surround yourself with individuals who share your values, ambitions, and commitment to excellence, you create a powerful support system. These people become your mentors, allies, and challengers who push you beyond your comfort zone. Their belief in you reinforces your own faith in your vision, and their example provides a living demonstration of what is possible. On the other hand, if you allow yourself to be influenced by negativity, complacency, or doubt, you will find your progress stifled and your confidence eroded. The company you keep acts as a mirror, reflecting the standards you accept for yourself. It is not only the people, but also the environments you frequent that matter. Your surroundings send constant signals to your subconscious mind about what is normal, possible, and expected. A cluttered, chaotic space can generate stress and distraction, whereas a well-organized, inspiring environment cultivates focus and creativity. Similarly, engaging with content, books, media, conversations, that uplift and educate strengthens your resolve and sharpens your intellect. Consuming negativity or trivial distractions drains your mental energy and weakens your purpose. Choosing your environment is an act of deliberate design. It requires awareness and courage to distance yourself from influences that do not serve your growth. This may mean stepping away from toxic relationships, limiting time spent on unproductive activities, or seeking new circles of influence that elevate your thinking. It means curating your daily inputs with the same care you would give to your diet, understanding that what you feed your mind and soul determines your output. The concept of a mastermind group, popularized by great thinkers, embodies this idea. When you unite with like-minded individuals committed to mutual success, you multiply your resources, knowledge, and motivation. The collective energy of such a group amplifies your own power and accelerates the manifestation of your imagined self. This synergy creates an environment where ideas flow freely, challenges are met with solutions, and encouragement is abundant. Moreover, the influence of your environment extends beyond immediate interactions. It shapes your beliefs about what is possible. If you consistently witness excellence, resilience, and integrity around you, you begin to internalize those qualities. Your imagination is then fueled by examples of achievement rather than stories of limitation. This positive conditioning primes your mind to expect success and prepares you to seize opportunities when they arise. In essence, mastering your environment is about control and alignment. It is a proactive approach to ensure that every element of your daily life supports your journey toward becoming who you imagine. This mastery gives you strength against external pressures and helps maintain your focus when challenges arise. It acts as a protective shield and a launching pad, enabling you to rise higher than you could alone. To become who you imagine, recognize that your environment is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. Be intentional in your associations and surroundings, and watch as they become powerful allies on your path. Through careful cultivation of your environment, you harness an invisible but mighty force that shapes your thoughts, fuels your ambitions, and ultimately molds the person you are destined to become.